Here are the key quotations for the short story The Pedestrian by Ray Bradbury. 1. To enter out into that silence that was the city at 8 o'clock of a misty evening in November. These words immediately establish the setting of the story and hint that something is perhaps amiss. It seems odd that it should be silent at 8 o'clock in the evening in a large city, and we wonder if perhaps something is wrong. Meanwhile, the reference to November prepares us for the fact that this is going to be cold and dark, which establishes the mood of the piece. 2. He was alone in this world of AD 2053. The word choice of alone here immediately introduces one of the key themes of this story, namely isolation. The reference to AD 2053 also establishes the setting in time. As the story was published in 1951, when new technology was emerging, Bradbury used the experiences of Leonard Mead as a warning to society about the possible consequences of embracing technology without caution. 3. A graveyard. Grey phantoms in a tomb-like building. These phrases all involve the imagery of death, a graveyard being a place where dead people are buried, phantom being another word for a ghost, and a tomb being a place where dead bodies are left or buried. This imagery is highly effective in demonstrating the dehumanizing effects of a world governed by technology. 4. An entire street be startled by the passing of a lone figure. The word choice of entire here emphasizes that all the other inhabitants of the street are different from Leonard, who is the lone figure. The fact that it would be unusual for them to see anyone walking past in the street at 8 o'clock on an evening is odd in a city setting, where it's perfectly normal for people to walk along streets. This helps to emphasize the dystopian nature of the society. Something is not right. 5. It cut the nose and made the lungs blaze like a Christmas tree inside. This is an evocative simile, comparing the effect of the winter air on Leonard's lungs to that of Christmas lights on a tree. Just as the lights on the tree emit brightness and energy, so too the sharp night air animates Leonard, emphasizing how vibrant he is compared to his peers. This positive, natural imagery contrasts starkly with the death imagery used to describe the lives and homes of the other people who live in the city. 6. Skeletal pattern, smelling its rusty smell. Although the word choice of skeletal is a death reference, at the same time it describes in intricate detail the beauty of nature, which Leonard still has the desire and the intellectual capacity to appreciate, unlike the others. The inclusion of what the leaves smell like adds to the impactful multisensory language. 7. What's up tonight on Channel 4, Channel 7, Channel 9? Here the use of the power of 3 and the asyndetic list emphasizes the number of different viewing options, and yet none of them seems appealing. This was a prediction in some ways, as there were very few channels. TV was in its infancy when Bradbury wrote this short story, and now there are hundreds. It also emphasizes the many different ways in which the authorities distract the inhabitants of the city from the reality of their lives. 8. The street was silent and long and empty, with only his shadow moving like the shadow of a hawk in mid-country. Here, the use of the polysyndetic list and power of 3 emphasizes the fact that nobody else is around, tying in with one of the key themes of this short story, isolation. This is also emphasized through the use of the simile, which compares Leonard to a solo bird of prey. 9. The cement was vanishing under flowers and grass. The word choice of flowers and grass here is a reference to nature, and the fact that they are emerging through the concrete suggests that once humans have been removed, nature could return once more. This is a rare glimmer of hope that this dystopian future may not be inevitable. 10. In 10 years of walking, by night or day, he had never met another person walking, not once. Leonard has been walking every night for a decade, which is a long time. Yet he has been completely alone on the streets, as emphasised by the negative word choices of never and not once. This highlights how lacking in human contact this technological society is. 11. It was a thunderous surge of cars, a great insect rustling, the scarab beetles. The word choice of thunderous conveys how loud the city is by day, a huge contrast to the silence everywhere at night. Scarab beetles are brightly coloured beetles, and this imagery presents a vivid picture of the bustling vehicles, but does not reference the drivers, thus emphasising technology over human beings. 12. A fierce, white cone of light. The word choice of fierce suggests here that the car is hostile and a threat. The description of the colour of the light as white suggests something clinical and cold, in contrast to the warmth of the yellow light that illuminates Leonard's house. 13. In a city of 3 million, there was only one police car left. Here, the contrast between the number of inhabitants of the city and the need for only one police car to police the city suggests a subdued populace who are too complacent and consumed by technology to rebel. They have renounced their free will. 14. Metallic whisper. The use of whisper seems to personify the car, making it the closest thing to a human being that Leonard is likely to meet on the street. Yet the word choice of metallic sounds clinical rather than human, showing that ultimately there is no human contact in the story. 15. The light held him fixed, like a museum specimen, needle thrust through chest. This simile presents a frightening image of Leonard being pierced metaphorically by the light, as if he's a dead exhibit in a museum, such as a moth, being pinned in place. It suggests that in this dystopian society he is something unusual to be studied rather than a normal human being. 16. Magazines and books didn't sell anymore. This is bad news for Leonard Mead, who, let us remember, is a writer. In this dystopian, robotic society, intellectual curiosity has been suppressed, and there is no longer any need for free-thinking writers. People are simply happy to sit and be fed to low-quality television. 17. You have an air conditioner, Mr. Mead, and you have a viewing screen. When Leonard explains that he's just walking for air and to see, this perplexes the robotic car, which suggests that there should be no reason for him to go outside. This emphasises the lack of personal freedom for the citizens of this dystopian society. They appear to be prisoners in their own homes. 18. Wait a minute, I haven't done anything. I protest. At this point, our sympathy for Leonard is escalated as we share his sense of injustice. The use of exclamation marks draws to the reader's attention his rising fear and alarm at where the car may be taking him. His personal freedom is clearly under threat. 19. There was no one in the front seat. No one in the car at all. The repetition of no one here confirms our suspicions that the car is robotic, yet another example of the dehumanization of society caused by technology, and of Leonard's continued isolation. 20. A little cell. A little black jail with bars. Riveted steel. Harsh antiseptic. The metaphor describing the car as a little cell highlights the fact that Leonard's freedom is being removed. The references to steel and antiseptic create an impression of a cold, clinical space devoid of humanity. 21. To the Psychiatric Centre for Research on Regressive Tendencies. The very name of this institution should strike fear into the reader's heart. The word choice of regressive is alarming, as it suggests his behaviour, which seems normal to us, is viewed by the authorities as backwards and thus undesirable. We suspect that they will force him to conform and become like the other 3 million people in the city. 22. One house in an entire city of houses that were dark, but this one particular house had all of its electric lights brightly lit. These words once again accentuate the contrast between Leonard and the other citizens, emphasising his nonconformist behaviour. Leonard and his home are the beacons of light and hope in this sinister society, and it seems likely that both will soon be dimmed. 23. Empty streets with empty sidewalks, and no sound and no motion. The repetitions of the words empty and no emphasise the negative mood at the end of this highly thought-provoking short story, echoing the key themes of isolation and dehumanisation. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope you found it useful. See you next time. In other videos on The Pedestrian, we look at an overview and key themes from the story. If you found this or any of our other videos useful, it would be great if you could subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thanks for your support.